Welcome back to Bucharest, Romania. This is FUT Champions Cup Stage 1, the first competitive event of the year on FIFA 20, and it is finals day, and we're ready for our cross-console final. The big game is nearly among us. My name's Spencer, and I'm joined by Rachel Stringer, Brandon Smith. We've got the perfect game, haven't we? The perfect two lads going head-to-head because their records, perfect.
It really is, and I just can't remember the last time that we've had a tournament where we've seen someone go flawless in Swiss in day one, again, superb in day two, and now they're here for a huge game worth $50,000, and it's going to be a really good one.
How rare is it? Have we seen it before?
Honestly,
Unbeaten all the way through to the final?
I mean, not FIFA 19, and not obviously so far this year. I think maybe back in FIFA 17 we may have seen something similar back in, like, I think it was like a Paris regional with Sian and Tass a very long time ago. But these are the records for these guys, and they, as I said, have just been flawless throughout this competition. You can see the goals scored as well compared to conceded. Under 10 goals throughout the whole tournament is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing stats there. Fifilza with 4 clean sheets over 2 legs, which is outrageous. Tekkz with just 2 clean sheets, or 3 clean sheets actually, if you include the group stage. He scored more goals, 6 more goals. He conceded 1 more. So if you were to take those things into consideration, you'd argue maybe Tekkz has the edge on the goal-scoring front, but Fifilza slightly better defence. But that's different consoles, different strokes. You put them together, we don't know what's going to happen. We can't predict it.
Well,
we're going to have to try.
Yeah, we were trying to say earlier, weren't we, when I think it was Dan sitting next to us, who is better on the different consoles? Would you say it's Tekkz because he has one made for him, bespoke? Is that correct? Am I right in saying that?
I would say it's Tekkz just because he's played in so many of them, and really now, all we can look at is the controller situation. A few years ago, it was a debate between icons on one console and not the other. It's just the controller now, so to be honest, it doesn't phase Tekkz, and for some reason, Tekkz plays better on his away console. I don't know why that seems to happen, so yeah, that's my kind of idea on the debate. What
would you choose first, your own or your away?
Well, to be honest, people tend to always go with what I think is the worst strategy here. So how it works is that if you get to if it's level after 2 legs, you continue into a golden goal extra time situation on the console you've played the second game on. So arguably it's better to start on your worst console, because that means if the game goes the distance, it's like having an away leg first, so you get your home leg second. But often we see people choose the opposite route, which always fascinates me. But going back to what you said about the amount of cross-console finals Tekkz has had, just because of the sheer amount of times he's played one, he's probably played more PS4 games at events than a lot of PS4 pros have.
Probably.
He has. Let's remember, he also played in the E-Champions League as well, didn't he, last year? So it doesn't really phase him. I always make the joke that it doesn't matter what console it is, it could be anything, and he'd be able to still make finals on it, wherever it is in the world. So about that debate with the whole cross-console final situation, I feel like Tekkz normally plays better when he starts on his away one and then moves on to his so-called home console. Because when you do start on your home console, there's just a lot of pressure for these guys for some reason that they have to go and get a result on that console.
I think we never even talk about how much FIFA they have to play at a tournament. They've had to play 9 games of FIFA just to get here. I know it's nothing compared to what they have to do to qualify to get here. That's a lot of time spent playing FIFA over the last 3 days as well. We have to take into consideration. And now they've got to go out and play the cross-console. 2 more legs of FIFA on different consoles. It's a lot of time and effort, a lot of mental draining that goes on between these 2 players as well.
Well, that's the right word. It's the mental capacity you need, because it's the intensity of those games. You know, guys that play weekend league at home are used to playing a lot more games, sometimes minutes 30. Back in the day, it was 40. And if you step up to weekend league, perhaps you've been playing at a lower level before that, you can really notice the difference, can't you, in the intensity of the matches. This is obviously a level higher, significantly higher. You can't take a second off in terms of concentration. So yeah, mentally it's very draining.
It really is, and I think the key thing of it is that if you look at how the tournament has gone regarding the Swiss matches, obviously round 5 in Swiss, there was 5 rounds on Friday. That's often the real tiring day because they have to play some really stressful games. If you're Tekkz or Fifilza, you won 5 games, so that was okay. But there's a lot of guys that it was elimination football from like round 2 onwards because they were 0 and 2. You come into the next day, Tekkz had quite an early finish yesterday. If you look at how it started, we started the stream and the tournament yesterday at about midday. He was done by about 3:30. He's had that time to go and relax. And for me, as someone that looks into the small intricacies of what really helps a pro, it's those kind of big moments within the tournament.
Well, something which might be playing into Fifilza's favour is the fact that Tekkz may be distracted. What's going on elsewhere? Oh yes, Liverpool are playing in the Premier League right now against Man City, so that could be distracting for him. I'm sure it won't be, but if he can get anything for Fifilza, then maybe he can be like, okay, his head's elsewhere.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly from Tekkz's perspective, he said he might as well win it now because he's had to miss the game anyway. But he says a lot of things which I think are part of playing it cool and playing to his persona. But staying up to watch the fight last night and all these things, if he's legitimate with all these things and he still goes on to win, it almost makes that aura around him all the more special.
My favourite thing about him is he'll win a game, as we saw today. He'll say he'll win a game, and I think he said, like, I hope Ox starts or something like that. Like, he says he's through to the next round of the tournament and an update on Liverpool or someone else that's going on in the world, which I think is brilliant. I think the best story for this final is, though, guys, is the fact of, is it the first event for 3 years in a row in which Tekkz could maybe become another FUT Champions Cup champion?
Well, and it's Fifilza's first ever cross-country final, so a lot of firsts going on here. So
yeah, I mean, if Tekkz does do that, the three-peat will call it, in terms of the first event of the year, then that would be an unbelievable achievement because people that are maybe newer to the scene might just think, oh, it's Tekkz, he's great, and he is obviously fantastic, but these are 3 different games, and there's maybe not huge differences, but significant ones nonetheless in terms of gameplay and the mechanics you have to learn. It's obviously, even if he doesn't win this, to go this far, it's clearly a consistent line of him being able to adapt to a game quicker than others in the scene.
I think it's just the case of he's just a fantastic FIFA player as well. I completely understand what you're saying as well, Spencer. The fact of, we know the game comes out at the end of September and qualifying really kind of kicks on in October. So about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, if that, to prepare for qualifiers. And he has done that. New things have been added in, as you mentioned, mechanic-wise, for example. Last year it was a lot of first-time finishes, goalkeeper movement. And to be able to just prepare and train so well within the first 4 weeks and just clearly looking like a completely different player compared to anyone else on the Xbox side. No offense to anyone else, but the way he's just been able to obviously stay unbeaten and see out games this early in the year. I've even said it to Kojo, his manager. I don't think we've even seen the best version of Tekkz yet.
And maybe a distraction as well, leaving the F2 boys, not knowing maybe his future for a little while. Same with King Esports and obviously with Fnatic. That, to some people, maybe, he's obviously really young as well, could be quite distracting. Had such a great year, probably didn't expect to leave a team and have to go on the lookout for that happened, and he's taken that within the stride as well.
Well, it makes you wonder, because we're talking again about being good across 3 games. He's had 3 technically different teams being unsigned, then with the F2, now with Fnatic. But how scary is it that he's now actually with a fully fledged, genuinely very well-respected esports org that are taking part in a lot of different esports across the world? If they can pull all their efforts and make Tekkz even better, I mean, how scary is that for everyone else in the scene?
It's incredible. I think the fact of, if you look at his social following, like I remember back in Barcelona when he went from, I was having breakfast with this lad, and next thing you know, 12 hours later, he's gone from 500 followers to 52,000 followers, plus winning the FUT Champions Cup. This guy, Tekkz, he becomes a hero overnight, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And I think one thing we don't often talk about is the pressure he has probably from his fans around the world. It doesn't seem to faze him at all, which is so impressive.
That comes, doesn't it, with being a personality. He makes his own content online as well, and that has huge boost to your ability to play at the highest level. But yeah, it does come at a price. Is that you've got expectation on you, expectation from himself, which is significant, his fans, and obviously now his team in Fnatic. It can weigh down on you, but he does roll with the punches. But we've got to talk about Fifilza as well. Man's done incredibly well. He was on our radar for sure last year, but he stepped up a level significantly for Brazil, for Wolves. Can he take Tekkz down?
I think when we look at the way that Fifilza's played in both of these guys, what's standing out? Defensive records. They've been so good defensively. Again, as we talk about, we're so early into this FIFA 20 Global Series, and these guys have kind of nailed down the basics of defending and what formations work, what custom tactics work. And I think Fifilza has done such a great job, not just for himself, but for that South American kind of region of players that have all been supporting each other. And I'm sure, knocking out Yago was a little bit hard for him as a team-bundled teammate. But he's got a great chance in this. It's the furthest he's ever got in a FUT Champions Cup, and we might potentially have a new name on that trophy. There's not many names on it.
No, there isn't, is there? We're going to take a quick break now, guys. When we come back, you can see them getting ready behind us. It is going to be the ultimate perfect final, the 2 perfect records, England versus Brazil. The people that created the game against the people that perfected their game. What's going to happen? Find out after the short break.
Go. Guys do whatever it takes to deal with shave irritation. So we reimagined the razor with the new Gillette Skin Guard. It has a unique guard between the blades that's designed to reduce irritation during the shave. Because we believe all men deserve a razor just for them. The best a man can get. Gillette.
Sound, the most important thing you'll ever hear. It doesn't matter if you've dropped in thousands of times. Are you still using the headset that came with the system? You need to upgrade to Turtle Beach. The Stealth 600, the #1 wireless gaming headset. With superhuman hearing, you'll become a Battle Royale demon. Now that's what I call an upgrade. Oh.
Welcome back to Bucharest. This is the FUT Champions Cup Stage 1 cross-console final. Xbox winner, Tekkz, taking on PlayStation 4 winner, Fifilza. I am absolutely buzzing for this one, guys. This is the final game of the weekend, and whoever wins this is, I believe, the #1 player in the world as we stand.
Yeah, and they really are just kind of setting the mark, aren't they, for this year? I think, first and foremost, we know who's going to be top of the rankings on PlayStation and Xbox. We know 2,000 Global Series points will be obviously evenly shared there, but it's all about that trophy at the end of the day. You can have all the money in the world, all the Global Series points. It's about getting that trophy, lifting it, and getting your name on it. So this is going to be an amazing final.
This is a $20,000 game as well. We can't forget. One person, the winner, goes home with $50,000. The other goes away with $30,000. It's not bad either way. But yeah, like Brandon just said, whoever wins this, arguably the best at the moment, until 2 weeks' time when they have to do it all over again. And they'll both be there.
They might do it again as well. Who is going to be winning it? That's my question for you guys. Prediction time.
Ooh.
You can let me go first?
You go first if you want.
Tekkz.
You going Tekkz?
Of course.
Both unbeaten, so either predictions
Brit as well
not
now.
particularly
Come on,
brave
you're going to go
one.
with the British guy.
Okay.
I think for me, it's just a case of it's scary to think that we haven't even seen the best Tekkz yet, in my opinion. And I just feel like make that bit of history. 3 years in a row, first major of the year. It's going to be Fnatic Tekkz that picks up the win and lifts that trophy once again here in Bucharest.
Okay, they're both going for a Tekkz win. What do our casters, Dan and Mark, think, who are going to take us through all the action? Who have you got, guys?
Go on, you go first. I'm going to be polite.
I've said Tekkz from the start of the weekend, so I have to stick with that.
I don't know, man. I'm going to go Tekkz. I think I want to see the three-peat. I want to see the first event win of the last 3 games go to the same guy. Incredible consistency. I have to say Tekkz, but Fifilza is not going to make this easy. It's going to be a really, really tight game.
Yeah, it's a full house of Tekkz predictions. No doubt the Brit loves it in Bucharest, but the Brazilian Fifilza has Wolves in his corner. Let's see what happens. Have a good one, lads.
Thank you very much, Spencer. And it is a pleasure to welcome you all along to our grand final, of course, the cross-console final. And some real international flavour here, Dan. Of course, we have Fnatic's Tekkz, who a lot of us expected to get this far in every tournament, but especially this one at the start of FIFA 20, taking on the Brazilian Fifilza. Both players unbeaten so far in the tournament.
9-0, but only one of them can make it 10-0. And I'll just talk you through how they got here. They've taken down some pretty big players along their way. Fifilza beating #Harry, then Uston, then Crazy, and then Yago, most recently in that PlayStation final. Whereas Tekkz, I mean, he's had an interesting run. Maybe not some of the bigger matchups you would expect on the Xbox side, beating Sakul, Phil, and Spider Kong. And then, of course, he had that incredible matchup that we saw against Lyrics, just narrowly beating him 2-1, his hardest matchup of the tournament so far. But he is here. He's in that grand final. And as Mark alluded to, as the entire desk has been saying, this could be the 3rd time we've seen him pick up the first major of a season. FIFA 17, FIFA 18, FIFA 19, now FIFA 20. This is a real chance for history to be made. But I think you're right. Fifilza is not going to make this easy.
Well, here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the 2 competitors on your screen. It is the Brazilian Fifilza taking on Fnatic, newly signed Tekkz, in our grand finals here in Bucharest. And I just get the feeling, Dan, this might not be the first time we see these 2 matching up this year.
And what a signing it has been for Fnatic as well. I'm sure when they put that pen to paper, they were delighted to get Tekkz on board, but there will always be that consideration of, will he be able to do it again? Can he show that same form we've seen in previous FIFAs? Well, he's still aggressive, he's still getting in the face of his opponents, he's still scoring goals, and he's in yet another cross-console final.
And he's already won the ball high up the pitch as well, which for Fifilza is going to be something he's going to have to keep his eye on, because the way that I see Fifilza approaching FIFA 20 is fairly similar to what we saw from Lyrics. And I think if Tekkz can apply the same kind of pressure that he did in the game against Lyrics, he could have some success here.
But we did see Fifilza in the previous game show he can score goals in those early stages of the game. He surprised Yago. He came out of the blocks very hot and got 2 goals in quick succession. And then it was just a real struggle for Yago for the rest of that series. Yes, okay, he pulled it back, but Fifilza showed how strong he was.
Well, here's Ruud Gullit then turning and twisting in a driven ball into R9. Virgil van Dijk comes out to try and deal with the strength of R9, and it was a little bit messy, it was a little bit awkward, but it was effective there from Tekkz defensively. That's Garincha again on that right-hand side. He's been a real influence for Tekkz.
He really has. I mean, I'm sure that his market price probably rised as soon as everyone saw that Tekkz was using him on an esports account where you can use any player you want in the game. He really has done a job for him.
Well, here's another Brazilian who has been in pretty much every single squad we've seen so far. It was R9 Ronaldo, but this man has been finding the back of the net more often than not himself. And of course, Romangia Sabio, but this time the shot was blocked. But opportunities at both ends to start this one off, Dan.
Fifilza has to be really careful in that final third area if he allows Tekkz to get that space in the box, because we've seen how effectively he can turn, how quickly he can swivel and get that shot away, whether it be right foot or left foot, because he's got the 5-star weak foot of R9, of Eusebio, just there waiting to pounce. And he's got Neymar there as well, just on the wing to join the fray.
Well, here's Zambrotta then in that fullback position. Little ball inside here to R9 Ronaldo. Mbappe dropping off, being called towards the ball there by Fifilza. And now you're seeing Tekkz again. Look where Gullit is on the pitch, pushing high up, trying to win that ball. But now you're going to see a little bit of space in behind. R9 with a strike, and Allison has to get a strong hand on that one to turn it behind for a corner.
I like that from Fifilza as well. Just test the goalkeeper early. Test Tekkz a little bit early as well. You get yourself a corner, put a little bit of pressure, say, look, I'm not afraid to shoot. You're going to give me that space, I'm going to take these shots.
Chance here maybe for Gullit. Van Dijk in again, and Tekkz was saying how much. Not just in real life football in that Liverpool shirt, he loves Virgil van Dijk, but on this game he said he's the best centre-back on the game. And you can see he can rely on him once again.
Impressive records for both of these in terms of the fact they haven't lost a game. You also have to look at the amount of goals they've scored and the amount of goals they've conceded as well. It's only been 8 goals conceded for Fifilza in this entire tournament.
Great little touch past him from Ruud Gullit there. Tries to feed it into R9. Well, sometimes it's the unexpected, just a little bit of left stick dribbling there from Tekkz, which created the space. Here's R9, drag back. Maybe might open up for a finesse shot of his own, but instead goes back to Patrick Vieira. Here's Ronaldo. Eusebio exchanging quick passes again, and this is looking pretty dangerous here for Fifilza. Needs to keep his wits about him.
We can already see why there's an average of less than a goal per series that Fifilza has actually conceded throughout this tournament. Tekkz really struggling to get into that last chance situation, get that shot away, but there is a free kick. Anything that we can see from Fnatic's new signing.
Taking short there, little flick up actually, maybe just keeping Fifilza guessing if he was going to fancy a little volley on that one, test the goalkeeper out, but instead he's played a beautiful weighted pass out wide there. Eusebio into R9, danger here for Fifilza. The heel-to-heel, the double. To cause some trouble here for Fifilza, back into R9, round the corner, big chance! Tekkz takes the lead!
And he takes the lead in the same fashion we've seen time and time again this tournament. It's the heel-to-heels that just confuse his opponent, but he's not scared to recycle that play, to go back to the midfielders, wait for the perfect opportunity to pounce, look for that space, and it's Eusebio again, just in the right time, at the right place, and he's managed to take a goal lead here. And if that's anything to go by, then we're in for an incredible grand final.
What a start this is from Fnatic Tekkz. Everything he could have wanted within the first half an hour. The goal to break the deadlock and the way that he worked it is surely going to fill him with confidence.
And all the talk about Fifilza's defence and how he's a defensive player. We have to look at Tekkz's defensive record as well. Only conceded 9 goals in the tournament. That's 1 per series because he's played 9 series. Incredible, really, that both of these players can keep such a low-scoring game against themselves.
Let's put that into perspective as well. When we say series, that's 2 games of FIFA. So that's less than a goal a game. which is an absolutely phenomenal record, but he's going to have to keep his wits about him here as Cristiano Ronaldo fires the ball into Ruud Gullit. She gets the finesse shot a little bit wrong there, and it will just disappear behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, and I think Tekkz will be happy with shots like that coming out from Fifilza. Whilst I was encouraging the shot a little bit earlier from Fifilza, I think that maybe that was a little bit rushed with Gullit. Yeah, okay, the space was available, but I don't think necessarily finesse was the right option. Maybe he just could have tried to drive that one to one of the keeper's sides, or even just go for that extra pass. If we look at goals scored, though, Tekkz has been the player who's scored more. He's got 34 goals in this tournament in comparison to 28 for Fifilza. So an extra 6 goals across those 9 games. That's an average of 3.77 per series for Tekkz as well. So even though, yes, okay, he's been strong at the back, he has been bagging them as well.
Tekkz teasing with Neymar on this left-hand side. Stops up, gets his body in between Carlos Alberto and the ball. Goes all the way back to the fullback now. Zambrotta goes back inside to Gullit. Bit of space here for R9. It's a 3v3 situation if he can play this ball wide. Eusebio, though, just a little bit sloppy in possession there, and with around 50 seconds left in game of this first half, maybe a chance for Fifilza to go forward, but Tekkz defends well.
Yeah, he just steps up so successfully with his fullbacks, does Tekkz. And Fifilza's really struggled to get into any real dangerous areas. He's managed to get a couple of shots away, but realistically, they were both from the edge of the box. They weren't that threatening, whereas Tekkz has looked pretty scary. He's been able to play that ball into R9, but instead of just looking for the turn straight away, he's actually been retreating, running back towards the halfway line, and then looking for the runners, and been able to try and play that pass to the likes of Eusebio, to the likes of Neymar. And that's where we found his first goal. And he is a goal closer to lifting another trophy in Bucharest. It would be his 5th FUT Champions Cup.
Unbelievable record.
Barcelona, Bucharest, Singapore, Atlanta. Of course, that stretches across FIFA 18 and 19. It'll be the 3rd time he lifts a trophy in the first major of a FIFA title. The consistency that Tekkz has shown is unhuman.
It's unparalleled, unprecedented. But for Fifilza, still a lot of time left in this game, of course. Not just the one game of FIFA to decide who will be our cross-console champion. Of course, we play 2 legs here. The scores are tied on aggregate after those 2 legs. We go to extra time and penalties. But for Tekkz, he has the game and the pace of the game in his hands now. He can afford to take his time a little bit more, but to create some clear-cut chances. Force Fifilza to work to get that ball back as Eusebio now turns. And you can already see here, Dan, Fifilza committing a few more players up the pitch. I like that from the Brazilian. He's not going to let Tekkz have an easy ride.
I don't think Tekkz ever expects an easy ride, though. Even though he is still very young, very experienced in the FIFA scene, holds himself very well. Has slowly matured, both in his play style and his age. And I think he knows and he expects Fifilza to burst into life at any point, so he has to keep his focus.
Well, here's Ruud Gullit then into the field of R9. You can see the idea again from Fifilza, looking to get that scoop turn, that little burst of acceleration away from Virgil van Dijk. Carlos Alberto comes across with a crunching tackle there to win the ball back, and now Fifilza might be able to counter-attack, but given away again, as Eusebio is the man to pick up possession.
And if you are unfamiliar with how FIFA esports works, in the grand final there is a leg on the PlayStation and then a leg on the Xbox. We're starting on the PlayStation. So Tekkz arguably on his unfamiliar console, but as we spoke about on the couch, he's been here that many times now. He's played on the PlayStation enough times as well that that's not really an excuse for him. The amount of times we've seen him dominate a PlayStation leg as well.
Vieira tracks back there onto Ronaldo. And on the other side of that, Dan, we should mention this is the first cross-console final that we've seen Fifilza competing in. So this is new territory for the Brazilian, as Johan Cruyff looks to get deep into Tekkz's territory at the moment and find an opening, finds the ball to Gullit. Great interpass in here as Zambrotta just at the right time again for Tekkz. His timing on those tackles really is impeccable.
And it's so often those fullbacks as well. Really gets them involved in the mixer.
Lovely ball from there, and Mbappe with a little snapshot.
All he needs is one of those, though. Does Fifilza. All right, the percentage chances aren't as high as if he was able to get a more definitive one-on-one situation, but we have seen them go in throughout this tournament and throughout FIFA 20 in general. So it is worth a pop now and then, and if Tekkz is going to restrict him to only those chances, then I'm sure he's going to take them.
In behind here for Cristiano Ronaldo. Look at the runner there, Ruud Gullit moving on from a deeper midfield position there to join the attack. Just couldn't find those final couple of passes to kind of weave the tapestry together to create that chance. Unfortunate for Fifilza, but promising signs for him going forward.
Every time Tekkz is on the ball, it's almost like I'm watching a ballet, like Swan Lake is about to perform in front of us. It's the 1, 2, 3 turns every single time, just to analyze where the defenders are going to be approaching him from. Keeping that ball close to the feet, utilizing the dribbling skills of these incredible icons and items that he's able to use here on these esports accounts.
Well, here is Garincha, the man who has kind of become synonymous with Tekkz at this tournament. Can't get away from Ronaldo, who's doing a little bit of defensive work himself, but will win the throw-in here on the near side. Eusebio picks up the pieces from the throw-in, gets it back to Garincha. Brazilian inside the box, finds another Brazilian, but he was just offside. He looked like he was just ahead of that defensive line. Linesman calls it back to give a free kick here to Fifilza.
There are positives Fifilza can take from this game, though. He has got into a couple of nervy areas that has made Tekkz's defense look wobbly at times. Sure, he hasn't committed to that extra pass to see if he can try and get that ball through for the one-on-ones, but those shots are enough just to worry your opponent when it's only 1-0.
Let's go into one of those advanced areas again here. Van Dijk will get a little bit physical. There will be an advantage played here by the referee. Fifilza plays on, lovely ball inside the box. Chance here for R9, gets it on to that right foot, rifles it towards goal and forces the save from Alisson.
Again, though, I think Tekkz is going to be happy with those kind of shots. It was far enough away where he's going to be comfortable that the keeper's going to make the save. But it's enough just to apply the pressure for Fifilza. Give him that confidence. I am going to create chances against Tekkz.
Couldn't find anything there from the corner either. Took it short, tried to recycle possession. And now he's having to wait here for Fifilza, be patient so that he doesn't give that ball away in a dangerous area. And this might be one of the last chances he has to go forward. About 8 minutes left of regulation time. Mbappe interchanging passes here to R9. Gets back inside. This is looking dangerous. Lovely little dummy there. Cristiano Ronaldo. Fifilza. What a save by Alisson.
And Van Dijk doing some work at the back as well. Collides with Cristiano Ronaldo, but it was Ronaldo the one at fault. So it's going to be a free kick for the goalkeeper. But what a chance it was for Fifilza with Mbappe. He went for that finesse to the right of him. I've seen it sometimes, just driving it to the left of the keeper, right to that near post. But maybe it was just enough of subtle goalkeeper movement from Tekkz just to make Fifilza second guess himself.
We have seen some absolutely huge saves from goalkeepers, whether it's been Yashin, whether it's been Alisson, the Liverpool man, in between the sticks. We've seen a lot of different characters who have been placed in goal for different players throughout the tournament, but Alisson showing his worth there. What a save that was to keep this one-goal advantage intact.
Very risky dink from the free kick by Tekkz, but it's worked out okay. He's kept possession. I'm sure he would be more than happy to go into his familiar console, the Xbox leg, with a 1-goal advantage. I'm sure that Fifilza would have liked to at least been able to bag one, though, going into that leg. There's still a little bit of time, but I'm sure that Tekkz is going to restrict those chances.
So that chance for Fifilza looks like it might be his final chance of this first leg. Tekkz has the chance, though, to go forward, to compile the misery, to find a second here. It really would be a hammer blow to Brazilian hopes ahead of that second leg. And here comes the man from Fnatic. Into stoppage time, 30 seconds left in game. Vieira. Little cheeky ball into Johan Cruyff, and Tekkz. This is where he's so dangerous. A couple of step-overs, a little elastico back inside. Not enough to beat the defender, but he does have the corner. Pull it. Look at the man waiting on the edge of the box. Falls back here to Mbappe. Little turn inside. Virgil van Dijk. Can't force it through. Second chance. That will be the last chance. As Fifilza puts it out of play and Tekkz takes a 1-goal advantage into our second leg.
It got very messy in the box towards the end of it as well. Anyone but Van Dijk by the goal there, and that might have been a chance for Tekkz to double his lead, but as I said, I think he's going to be more than happy with 1 goal on the PlayStation leg going into his more familiar Xbox territory. For Fifilza, there were a couple of chances where, I mean, realistically, he probably feels like he could have come away with that with a draw.
Yeah, I agree with you. There was that huge chance, of course. I would say there was one real big, clear-cut chance for each player in that particular game. The difference was Tekkz took his. Fifilza, unfortunately, couldn't take his. An absolutely, immense save coming out from Alisson, getting that ball. It looked like a guaranteed goal. The way that he played the extra pass, found Mbappe, went across goal. But I think maybe the interesting thing for me is you look back on previous opportunities that players have had throughout the tournament. And one of them was the goal that Fifilza scored earlier on in the tournament where he drove it at that front post. Maybe he was thinking, Tekkz has seen that. I'm going to go across goal here. Tekkz didn't fall for that.
I mean, there's so many mind games going on between these two players, but we have one more Twitch drop for you guys watching at home on Twitch. Of course, if you link your EA and your Twitch accounts, you will be within the chance of getting yourself a mega pack if you are watching the stream. So let us know if you're able to get one. Let us know on Twitter, of course, if you actually manage to get them and if you pack anything good.
Okay, well, we're going to go for a quick break now between the legs. When we get back, of course, we have the second leg's action to come. We'll see you in just a few.
Guys do whatever it takes to deal with shave irritation. So we reimagined the razor with the new Gillette Skin Guard. It has a unique guard between the blades that's designed to reduce irritation during a shave. Because we believe all men deserve a razor just for them. The best a man can get. Gillette.
Sound, the most important thing you'll ever hear. It doesn't matter if you've dropped in thousands of times. Are you still using the headset that came with the system? You need to upgrade to Turtle Beach. The Stealth 600, the #1 wireless gaming headset. With superhuman hearing, you'll become a Battle Royale demon. Now that's what I call an upgrade.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, ahead of our second leg of our grand finals here in Bucharest at the FUT Champions Cup Stage 1. If you're just joining us, is of course Wolves' Fifilza, all the way from Brazil, taking on Fnatic's Tekkz. Tekkz heading into this second leg, Dan, with a 1-goal advantage.
Yeah, both players unbeaten throughout tournament play, but they get themselves here in the grand final where only one of them can walk away with that perfect record. It's something that Tekkz has done before. It's something he prided himself on in the FIFA 19 season. I believe he did it twice. He argues he was one of the only players to ever do that. I will trust his judgment and I will trust his history checking. But he still has that man in his way, Fifilza. I still feel like there's something up his sleeve. That Mbappe chance he had towards the end of the game was a huge one for him. But how much is that going to play on his mind going into this Xbox leg? Is he going to get a clear-cut chance like that again? Or is he going to be restricted to those edge-of-the-box shots that we saw in the early stages?
I feel like Fifilza, although he didn't take that chance, of course, if he would have put that one away, this leg, I say advantage for Fifilza. But the fact that Tekkz managed to make that huge save, that his goalkeeper came up trumps for him, means that he does have that advantage. But if you're Fifilza, there's two ways of looking at things, right? There's one, I missed that opportunity. You get down on yourself. Or two, I've shown that I can create not just that one chance, but other opportunities in and around side Tekkz's box where he can score those goals.
Well, 1/3 of Tekkz's games have been without conceding. 2 of those were in knockout stages as well. It's not like they were all just Swiss games. It was actually in the knockout run. He hasn't conceded a goal in 2 of those. So that gives him a lot of promise going into this Xbox leg. If I can just not concede, if I can hold Fifilza to no goals here, the trophy's mine, and I'm a champion yet again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because that kind of goes against a lot of what we know Tekkz for. Of course, we love to see him go forward. We love to see him score goals. We love to see him defend with that aggressive intent as well. And it's going to be interesting to see if he changes that heading into our second leg. But for Fifilza, I expect something pretty similar from him, to be honest. For what we saw, especially in the second half of that first leg, quite an aggressive game. Wasn't afraid to defend with his centre-backs. Wasn't over-reliant on those CDMs to pick the ball up for him. It is just all about taking that chance when it comes down. He has to put the ball in the back of the net. He is presented with another clear-cut opportunity.
Yeah, Fifilza's really trying to take advantage of the aggression of how Tekkz defends, how he steps up with those fullbacks and tries to win the ball back in those scary positions. If Fifilza can try and bait those tackles out, maybe play a quick 1-2, and then take advantage of the space that is going to be presented on that wing, then he can cut inside, maybe a skill move, or maybe he just needs a couple of passes back into the midfield. And he's going to have those opportunities if he can just pass that ball across the pitch to, like we saw before with Mbappe, but hopefully the next time he gets that opportunity, he'll be able to put it away.
So here it is, the final 90 minutes. FUT Champions Cup Stage 1, live here from Bucharest, is underway. Tekkz, as you can see, with that 1-goal advantage on aggregate. If Wolves' Fifilza manages to find a goal here and keep Tekkz at bay, we will go to extra time, and if needed, penalties.
And either way, it's going to be an incredible moment for either of these players. Either it's going to be Tekkz making it 3 seasons in a row, picking up the first major, or it could be Fifilza being the first PlayStation FUT Champions Cup winner in quite some time. We didn't see one of them throughout FIFA 19.
The ball that is into Ronaldo, trying to get that shot away. Fifilza timing the tackle superbly there with Virgil van Dijk, but early warning signs there for the Brazilian.
Very hard though, when R9 has his back to you and he's just shielding the ball so strong to try and win it back off him, and you know that it's just a scoop turn away, a dummy away, maybe just a pass, a 1-2 away from being a goal. Have to be so focused, so concentrated whilst defending.
This is a nice move here on this left-hand side from Fifilza. Managed to get aggressive there and tries that little accelerated fake shot around the fullback, but we've seen both fullbacks, either Carlos Alberto or Zambrotta, have been absolutely rock solid.
Yeah, and the fake shot would have worked in FIFA 19, but it doesn't really work as well in FIFA 20 unless you're directly side by side with the defender. That's when that acceleration can really just take the ball away from them, and then you can get that advantage. But maybe just a poor prediction from Fifilza, expecting him to be a little bit closer, perhaps.
And you can see Fifilza here, the way that he's defending. I think he's trying to presume that Tekkz is going to not go straight towards goal! But a goal it is! Tekkz doubles his lead. And that man, R9, is just deadly.
Fifilza just gave him a little bit too much space. He gave Tekkz the time to think, and he was able to get away from the man. Blanc just left in the dust, and R9 smashes it home, and Tekkz again taking his chances.
Tekkz is looking absolutely flawless here in Bucharest. And if he does win this, it would be the perfect tournament as well. We have to keep that in consideration as the young man once again wins possession back for the restart.
And I remember last season counting the amount of goals that Tekkz was scoring from tournament to tournament and how they were accumulating, and the impressive goal-scoring record. That takes him up to 36 now with 2 goals from this tournament. 36 from 9 games, not bad at all, especially when you consider the current meta of FIFA 20 and how defensive it's been in some of these games.
It really has been an exhibition. Well, someone that I named the special one last year, he's showing that that has carried over here into FIFA 20, but for Fifilza, now the game has completely changed. The situation was new to him before he got into this game, never been in a cross-console final before. And now he's chasing the game, not just by 1, but by 2.
And not just by 2, but also on an Xbox now. A console that I'm not particularly sure he has that much experience with, and I know it's just a controller, and I know most players are prepared for it, and they usually have some sort of controller that's modified that makes it feel like their familiar console. Would Fifilza have been expecting to be in a cross-console final? Would he have packed said controller? I know Tekkz would have.
Well, here's Tekkz again. He has history in his own hands at the moment, just needs to not make mistakes. And that's something that we definitely can confirm that Tekkz has not done so far here in Bucharest. As Alberto goes back into Vieira now, a third goal here. And you have to feel Fifilza would be completely deflated. Here's R9, beautiful from Tekkz! He is special!
And it is so simple, but so effective. The drag back is deadly in and around the box. Filthy. That's 3 for Tekkz. And we may have to start carving that name on the trophy already.
Tekkz again showing in so many different areas of the pitch why he is such a talented human being. It doesn't matter what console it is. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. Tekkz always finds a way to win. And not only that, Dan, a way to entertain as well.
It doesn't even matter what FIFA it is. 18, 19, 20, he's doing it again. The consistency that this young man is showing is absolutely sublime.
Well,
and there's been so
Fifilza,
many questions asked, is he the greatest of all time? I mean, get that question back in your mouth. He didn't have a great E-World Cup. He knows that. He let himself down, he let his fans down during FIFA 19. After arguably one of the best seasons of all time, it came down to nothing because he wasn't even able to get out of the group stages. But FIFA 20, you feel like he's here to prove a point now.
well, Fifilza to go 2 down this early on in the second leg when you're already chasing the game. Just makes things even more difficult. And they keep an eye on that player cam as well. See what the body language is like. See if he's keeping his head up, if there's no shakes of the head. But you do feel here, Dan, that he needs a goal before half-time if he wants any chance of getting back into this game. But Tekkz is just starting to flow. Here's the ball into Garrincha. Vieira back to the Brazilian. Well defended, though.
What does Fifilza have left? An absolutely flawless tournament for him as well up to this point. Just sweeping aside everyone. But now 3 goals down. This is unfamiliar to the territory already. Not to mention the fact it's his first ever cross-console final. If he can get just 1 before half-time, that might just give him the confidence he needs, but we've spoken about it before. Tekkz very good at managing a game when he gets a lead like this. He's developed so much since that young man we saw burst onto the scene in Barcelona, where he's matured as a FIFA player. He knows how to finish a game. He's got Enzo's tactics behind him as well. We saw how much he changed when Enzo started coaching him in FIFA 19.
Well, here's Eusebio. And Tekkz again looking dangerous right at the end of the first half of the second leg. Eusebio gets it back to R9, scoop, turn and block. I mean, he was spinning like a top, but he managed to get some part of the ball.
Didn't know if I was watching FIFA or Beyblade with the amount he was spinning there, but might not be enough time. It's not going to be. Half-time then, and a 3-0 lead on aggregate for Fnatic's Tekkz, and he's 45 minutes away from lifting another trophy in Bucharest.
67% possession. On the other side of things, Fifilza, who's the man who's chasing this game at the moment, 33% possession, a third of the possession, no shots on target, no shots whatsoever. I know it sounds very obvious, but things need to change here. It has to happen. It has to be magic from Fifilza in this 45.
And we've seen it in cross-console finals before, where you get into this situation where people are playing the likes of Dasari, Tekkz, and they go a goal or 2 down, and then they go all out attack, and they end up losing by 5 or 6. It happened to Maestro at FUT Champions Cup in London against Dasari, I remember. How much does Fifilza have? Does he go for, I'm just going to throw everything forward now, going all out attack, I don't care if I lose by 7, 8, 9, it doesn't matter to me? Or is he going to be thinking, I want a respectable scoreline here?
Nobody remembers the scoreline. I think everybody just remembers the result of the game, and I think for Fifilza, he needs to have the confidence in himself to pull off something special here in Bucharest. Do it for your fans back home. Do it for Wolves Esports, who have given you that backing. Do it for yourself, just to prove you can go that one stage further. And call yourself a cross-console champion.
$50,000 on the line. Both of them already guaranteed themselves $30,000, so it's a $20,000 game. And Tekkz looks like he's going to be the one taking home that check as it stands.
Great ball inside to Eusebio as well. Blanc does well to defend it. Switch of the play here from Fifilza. Mbappe continues his run, maybe just looking to stretch the defence. Fifilza starting to get a little bit more direct with his play, you can see it. Tekkz keeps pressuring the ball. Van Dijk hassling R9, and Virgil van Dijk again. He just seems even better in the hands of Tekkz.
It's because Tekkz likes to hassle. He likes to press. He doesn't allow his opponent ever to have an easy time. In the goals that Tekkz has scored, Fifilza's just given him that little bit too much space, maybe too much respect. Whereas Tekkz doesn't have that same respect. He just wants to pummel everyone. He wants to get in their faces. He wants to steal that ball back. He wants to be in control of the ball so that he can score the goals.
And now Fifilza's going to have to push men up the pitch. Have to try and win that ball back, and that is going to leave spaces in the areas that you just saw Eusebio pick the ball up. Just in between that midfield, just in front of that back four. And as we approach the hour mark here, Vieira again just waiting for players to push out, to leave those spaces in behind, to try and win the ball. And now Neymar with the ball roll and a step over, a fake Rabona. Can't quite fool Fifilza enough to get the space to get the crossing.
Tekkz just saying, look, I've got a 3-0 lead, you've got to come to me. More than happy for 10 of your men behind the ball, because 10 men are behind the ball. You're not going to be scoring against me, and this trophy's mine. He can be patient. Fifilza has to press, has to bring some of these men back out of defence and start trying to win this ball back.
Well, Tekkz is playing this to the T. Keeping possession, not even giving Fifilza a sniff, as Ronaldo now gets inside the box! Drills it against the upright, and that would have been the game. And now a little bit of panic here. Gets it onto the left foot of Neymar. Fifilza didn't clear his lines properly, but Tekkz again showing maybe something we wouldn't have seen a year or so ago. A little bit of maturity and valuing possession over another goal here.
Yeah, just saying, oh, okay, I'll have the ball back. I will eat it a little bit more away of this time.
Corinthia turns back inside. Neymar has his shot blocked.
Time is ticking away for Fifilza, and whenever he gets that ball, he's going to be desperate to get it up the pitch, but I feel like time is against him now. I've seen goals scored in quick succession, but not against Fnatic Tekkz.
He's barely touched the ball in this half. It's as simple as that. He has barely touched the ball. And when you are chasing a game and you're 3 down, it has to be absolutely heartbreaking to not even be able to get that ball in your possession. Zambrotta now, again, just waiting for a pass to become available.
And usually when you see possession stats like this, you assume that the opposition has been playing the ball around the defence and running away from the strikers. It's actually been Tekkz just trying to work his way into the final third. In fact, most of the passes have been within the final third, but Fifilza has just sat back and just kind of waited and hoped there was going to be a mistake. So difficult to press, we know, in FIFA 20. So difficult to win that ball back, but another mistake from Fifilza as he desperately tries to get anything to try and just slowly but surely get himself back into this game. But I'm fairly certain that name is going to be carved on, started to be carved on the trophy. Maybe at least an F, an A, an N. The Fnatic has begun. Or maybe it's just going to be a T-E-K-K-Z.
Here's Neymar then on the left-hand side. Tekkz loves to entertain, and with a 3-goal advantage at this point in the game, you just wonder, is there going to be something a little bit special for us to remember? What looks like an imminent victory here in Bucharest. Here's Corinthia. Patrick Vieira is the man on the edge of the box. Van Dijk finds another Dutchman there in Ruud Gullit. There's Gullit again. You could see what he was trying. R9 was in acres of space. 10 minutes to go here in our cross-console final.
It's almost time for that victory lap. I wonder whether we'll see the likes of Steven Gerrard for Tekkz. And you say, will there be anything special? This tournament has been everything.
Garincha, back across goal. Arnold's desperately trying to get there, and every single sinew in my body wanted him to volley that with Garincha.
Even if there isn't that magic moment, it is a historic victory, a historic tournament for Tekkz. And one that I'm sure he will remember, many will remember, fans around the world of FIFA esports will remember. I'm sure down the line when it's FIFA 25, 26, we'll still be talking about those back-to-back-to-back first major victories.
Eusebio's gone for goal there. There will be a pause, and I'm just wondering if we're going to see what we're kind of expecting to see. Steven Gerrard in at camp.
Vintage Tekkz.
I told you he liked to entertain. As a huge Liverpool fan himself, he gets Steven Gerrard, the icon, in that cam position. And if he could bag a goal with him here, well, I think this might have been a perfect weekend in Bucharest.
So for quite some time, there's only been 4 names on those FUT Champions Cup trophies. And it's still going to be the same name again. We saw Dull Mike being added to that list of names last year when he won in Bucharest. But the fact this will be Tekkz's 5th FUT Champions Cup trophy is nothing but incredible.
Absolutely outstanding. And here is Steven Gerrard, twisting and turning. And you know what Tekkz wants to do. Wants to give us something to write home about. But stoppage time is almost up. The whistle goes. And history is made. Fnatic Tekkz is your champion here in Bucharest. He just looks unstoppable.
Barcelona, Bucharest, Singapore, Atlanta, and Bucharest again. There's something in the water here in Romania that just brings out the best in Tekkz. A lot to be said about that young man too, though. Fifilza with an incredible tournament, 9-0, only losing to Tekkz in this grand final. He still walks away with 2,000 Global Series ranking points. He'll still be the top PlayStation player on the leaderboards and still gets 30 grand as well.
And he will be back for the second FUT Champions Cup that we have. So congratulations to Fifilza for your performance, but there's only one man we should be talking about, and that is, of course, unbelievably, Fnatic Tekkz doing it again in the first tournament of the season. It's just, I'm lost for words. I genuinely am lost for words. Unbelievable.
I mean, there was always the thought of what if he does it again, but then you kind of go into another knockout game and you're like, oh, surely this is when Tekkz is going to fall now.
Someone's got to beat him.
Someone's going to beat him, but again and again, he just shows a new level, a different class, and I think we are witnessing the greatest FIFA player of all time develop. He's only 18 years old, he's getting older, and of course he's got competition from Dasari, but Dasari was also in this tournament, fell early in the knockouts. We didn't have the Dasari Tekkz game that could have been in the knockout stages as well. But there will always be that question of, well, when is he going to win the biggest of big championships?
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. I know it's the question that as soon as Tekkz wins the first tournament of the year, and we're always super excited to talk about, you know, the future and everything, but one step at a time. And I think listening to Tekkz throughout this tournament, every time we've had him interviewed and we've had the opportunity to speak to him, he said himself, you know, I'm trying to balance my year out a little bit better. Kicking off the year with a win, though, probably top of his priority list there, Dan. I mean, he was flawless. He was unbeaten throughout this tournament. Didn't lose a leg, I don't believe, in tournament play. Fifilza up until that point was unbeaten. And I mean, he just made it look simple.
And I'm sure it'll be even sweeter if he was able to get a victory next tournament, because then he wouldn't have to play in the qualifiers, and that would balance his life that little bit better.
Well, that's going to do it all from the commentary booth. Thank you all for joining us. A huge congratulations to Fnatic Tekkz, who is down on the floor now with the wonderful Mike LaBelle.
Thanks, fellas. That's right. I'm with Tekkz. You won the first event in 2018, first event in 2019, first event in 2020. How does it feel, my guy?
Yeah, so before the tournament, I didn't really care if I won or lost, but like when I beat Lux to get into the final, I was like, I can't lose now, I can't lose now. I was messaging everyone saying I'm actually nervous now because it's the first game I've been like properly nervous for. But yeah, my phone's been going off. I think Liverpool winning 2-0, so yeah, I need to go watch that one.
I actually saw both those goals. I had tabs opened everywhere.
Apparently Fabinho's goal was sick, but that's just what I've heard, so I need to go watch it now.
Okay, we can put it on after after we get everything here. But what's most important here is you getting your trophy, picking up, having that good energy, having that emotion. Woo! We need to work on this crowd. Oh. And just as a follow-up, you've been able to adapt and kind of transcend between each FIFA installment, because that's what people always say. Well, he can't have a year like he had last year. We can't have a year like the year that he had before that. So what's been the key? How have you been able to adapt, no matter what happens in the meta, no matter the pressure, no matter social media, joining new organizations, all of the above?
Let me put this down. It's actually quite heavy. Yeah, so FIFA 18, I won a tournament, and then FIFA 19, people seem to forget that I won like last year, but I said it earlier in the tournament, I don't care what people say anymore. I've gone past the stage of caring, I just don't read my replies, so whatever people say, feel free, but speak for yourself.
What's important is you got the W. You're keeping the streak alive here. We got 3 in a row, maybe 4 in a row for next year. We're coming back. Yeah. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Back in Bucharest, of course, in a couple weeks. For all you guys that tuned in, we really appreciate you. EA Sports, the competitors, everyone that's been involved. Thank you very much. Congrats again to Tekkz, excuse me. And we'll be back with the PS4 post show following a short break. Woo!
The FUT Champions Cup is presented by PS4.
The FUT Champions Cup post show is presented by PS4. Welcome back. It's the post show here, and we've got the champion who's checking his
Just
phone.
the tweets are flowing in. They're all flowing in.
But we need to talk about him first of all, because Tekkz has done it again. Mike's obviously been putting a lot of plaudits on you, much deserved, because this is another Bucharest win.
We're going to share this
We'll
mic,
work
okay?
out the microphone situation, but he's going to share with Rachel. But Tekkz, we're going to look at your highlights now, and we'll sort out the mic situation while we do it. Brandon, he's done it again.
Yeah, he has, and I think it was the story that could be, wasn't it, coming into this tournament? You know, we speak about people being brilliant at the beginning of the year, and that's exactly what this young man was. 3 years in a row, Barcelona, when I said the famous line, 0 to hero, DH Tekkz, came back in, of course, FIFA 19 last year, won that tournament, and then, of course, to top it off, 3 years in a row for this man. Obviously, with Fnatic this year, $50,000 as well, Spencer. So, you know, a fantastic tournament for this young man, and top of those rankings again.
Yeah, he just loves it. And, you know, I want to see, as these events go on throughout the year, I'd like to see an updated rankings table with last year's points as well. I know it doesn't work like that, but it'd be interesting to see if you can stay on top over the 2 years, because you had such a good lead going into the grand final last year, and you just carried on where you left off, Tekkz.
Yeah, this game, I feel like you should have scored that chance just there. I moved my feet or not, but either way, it was on. But yeah, I actually celebrated my first goal because I'm scared of the PlayStation controller. I'm really scared of it. I love it.
You're not used to it yet?
Nah, so I prefer when I'm not used to it. So like originally I wasn't used to it like at all, so I preferred it. But now I'm used to it. Like when I actually play with it, it's a lot more difficult. So it's a weird one, but I hate the PS controller. But I managed to score some nice goals, so this one was nice. I like that one.
Do you think as well, this whole cross-console final debate, for you, does it matter what console you start on? Because a lot of the time you'll start on your away console. You'll still win the game somehow and obviously come through in the end. Does it matter really what console you start on for a cross-console final?
I think last year it did. I preferred starting on the PS. But then I was thinking before the coin toss, like, shall I pick Xbox first? Because it's quite easy to hold out a lead on this FIFA. So I was thinking to myself, if I just win the first game on Xbox and try to hold it out. But I was like, nah, I'm not changing from what worked last year. So I thought, why not? Just, yeah.
Fifilza, he had a better defensive record than you going into
Swear.
this. Yeah,
Only
8
by
to
1
9.
goal.
Yeah,
One
by
goal.
I know, I was going to get that.
Sorry.
8 goals to 9 goals. You just put 3 past him there.
Yeah.
You know, did you expect to dominate that final like you did?
I didn't expect to dominate. I expected to win, especially when it came onto the Xbox. I'm very confident on Xbox. I could do my drop outs. I can do not skill moves, but just like the simple things that I'm quite good at. So yeah, but on the PlayStation, you could probably see from the game I was awful. He dominated. He should have maybe even won that game. So yeah, it is what it is. But
I wish I was awful like that.
It's a great goal, isn't it? Also, you knew Liverpool were 2-0 up.
Yeah, yeah.
How much did that add
So honestly, it got to the after the first leg, and I ran to the toilet. And my manager was in there, and I looked at my phone, and it was 2-0 in like 13 minutes, and I think it's half time now. I got the game here. It's half time. So yeah, hopefully we can go on and win that.
The bigger question is, when will Stevie G come on and score a goal?
He came on. I had the ball. I thought, this is it. This is my time now, and it wasn't my time. But maybe next tournament.
Stevie G only pops up when you need him. That's the thing.
He only gets about 5 minutes a game.
Exactly.
I think is on average.
That's his moment. Talk about your new team, Fnatic. What changes have they instilled in your life and your preparations and your regime, or has it been more a case of them not interrupting you doing what you've always done?
I've only just joined them, so we're only getting started. Obviously, got Club World Cup announcement coming soon. Who my teammate is. So yeah, like it hasn't really happened yet, but I think what will help me is having a routine. Because last year I didn't have a routine. I got so caught up in tournament mode that I didn't enjoy myself. I got home and sometimes I cried in bed some nights because I just didn't enjoy myself, and I was in such a bad place mentally that in the off season after World Cup I was like, okay, how am I going to start enjoying myself again? So I put a schedule in place. I wake up at better times. I go to bed at better times. I'm going to start eating better food. So I just want a routine again.
Yeah,
I think it's great as well that Tekkz, such a role model in the FIFA esports world and the esports world in general, and he's like sharing these stories as well, because there's players out there that there will be difficulties in competitive gaming, and the fact you've got a huge esports organisation behind you now that have got some fantastic people working there that can bring in that routine, because I'm sure when you did that Atlanta to Liverpool, that trip, that 12 hours was probably knackering for, of course, you managed to win it.
I think that helped me this tournament, because I swear I slept like 1-2 hours last night because I was watching KSI Logan Paul in my bed, and when KSI won that, I ran to Harry's room and we just started celebrating. There's probably a clip on Twitter somewhere.
So just if you're watching at home, guys, and you think if I want to be as good as Tekkz, I need to get 1 hour sleep, don't. Get you more sleep, because Tekkz is getting away with this because he's at the very top level. Yeah. But if you're trying to get to Tekkz level, you need those marginal gains. But I do think it's great what you've been speaking about, and you struggled a little bit last year mentally. But let's face it, if that was you in a struggling year, then if you're getting everything together now and you're feeling a little bit more, at peace in yourself, then what can Tekkz do this year? What's your goal? You've set out your stall, first event. You've won it without dropping a game. Where do we go from here?
I don't really have a goal, to be honest. I'm just going to take day by day. And if I enjoy the day I have the next day, then surely I have to have a good life, right? So
of course, the most important thing.
That's my motto I'm going by.
You're doing fantastic, mate. Absolutely buzzing to have you here. And to do it again, this guy has been on sensational form. He just seems to make Bucharest his own every single time he plays. We've actually got Mike LaBelle at the breakdown board, who's going to break some more action down for us. Mike?
And yeah, we're looking at what I like to call vintage Tekkz, and he does such a good job. I know you're right here, but he does such a wonderful job of being able to kind of recognize player switching and then make those adjustments, and that's why you're seeing the inclusion of additional skill moves and why you should use these skills and when you should use them. So we have Eusebio here. He's going to feed the ball into R9, and you're going to see an initial skill, but it's more about the follow-up and the player switch. So as you can see, what Tekkz has noticed is Fifilza has made a switch to Blanc, the center back, so he knows that he can challenge him. It's worth the 50-50. This is a good opportunity to now include an additional skill, because if you take the risk, you're going to actually receive the reward. You're going to have a fake shot, and he bangs it on the near post, and it puts him ahead. It extends his lead. And the second example we're looking at is relatively similar. He's once again trying to bait Fifilza into a mistake, bait him into some sort of error on player switching, and this has been the best defensive player in the tournament. And you see this again. He gets the ball into R9. Ronaldo is going to be a common theme in scoring goals, converting opportunities, as he was in real life. You see he's got the player switch, Blanc, and we're going to see a drag back here, one of the best skill moves and one of the most effective skill moves in FIFA 20, and he's going to get lost. He's going to get dusted, turns him, finishes again on the near post. Van der Sar can't do anything about it, and I think at that point, Tekkz understood that he had the game. I mean, once you have a 3-goal spread in FIFA 20, you should be able to see that out, and that's exactly what he did.
Would you agree with that, Tekkz? You say that at that point is when you knew you'd won?
First of all, I want to say I just thought that I didn't shake Fifilza's hand. I got caught up. So apologies to Fifilza.
I'm sure you can get a shake of a hand.
I'll go back and shake his hand after this. I apologise. What's the question?
Yeah, Mike was saying that he thought...
I forgot. I was sorry.
No, I think it's a great thing that you mentioned. I'm sure Fifilza would be more than happy to do that. Mike was saying at that point we scored that goal. Was that the moment that you felt you'd won the game? What was the moment you feel like you'd done it? Or did you not wait until the whistle's gone?
When I originally scored my first goal, I was confident, and like when I got onto the Xbox, I was like, if I can just be in the lead on the Xbox, then I'll be confident. Then I got the second goal, and I got the third goal, And I thought if I can get into half-time 3 goals up, I should win. If not, it could be one of the biggest chokes in FIFA history. So I thought, that I didn't really think about it. I just thought, let's just play and see what happens.
Okay, we've seen some great goals from Tekkz there. We've actually got the top 5 goals from the whole tournament now to watch. Let's take a look.
He's linking up the play here, and CR7 absolutely smashes it in the back of the net.
That's what Cristiano Ronaldo does.
Heel to heel from Neymar. Here's Vieira. Here's online! 119 minutes.
Can the fellow Brazilian icon himself get a huge goal for him? Cruyff on the edge of the box. It's going to fall to Ronaldo. It's going to get squeezed in somehow.
It seemed as though it squeezed through a gap that wasn't even there, and they just...
You just felt it, didn't you, Richard?
Garincha into Hullet. A little bit of a desperate slide there. Ball into the box. One chance. One goal.
Eusebio's really got nowhere to go, has he?
That's
On the other side of that, Eusebio is fresh. Scores now. You'd have to say it's game over. Eusebio, ball roll, surely on the line. It's in from R9. Surely that is your game winner.
There you go, some fantastic goals there in what's been a fantastic tournament here in Bucharest. We're still joined by Tekkz, of course, who is our grand final winner, cross-console champion, #1 in the world, we should say, really, and technically level on points with Fifilza on the other console, but you obviously won the match against Fifilza, so I'll give you the #1 ranking for what it's worth. Have you got a favourite goal of the tournament?
My favourite goal? I scored lots of nice goals, but I think my favourite goal was my last goal against Lyrics, because it's the one, like, I couldn't lose to Lyrics. I can't have him in my ear for the next, 2 weeks before the next Champs Cup, so that's probably my favourite, being Lyrics. So yeah, that's second goal.
You just mentioned that as well. Back here in 2 weeks.
Yes,
What do you do now? You've only got kind of a couple of weeks to prepare. Do you change anything?
No, I just at home, I just keep doing what I've done before, which is go out with my mates, play other games.
Watch a lot of Liverpool.
Yeah, watch Liverpool and just play football and enjoy myself, really. And then come to the day before the tournament, that's when I fully practice and try be good at what I'm doing.
So it takes 1 day of practice to be that good. I'm sure it doesn't.
I've got to say, an interesting question for me as well. Like, you set the world record for the most global series points accumulated last year, didn't you? And you are going to be top again from the word go on the Xbox rankings. Are you planning to stay there all year at first?
If it happens, it happens. I'm not too bothered if I'm 16th first. It is what it is.
As long as you get your World Cup.
Yeah, and hopefully I do better this year. I did so bad last year, but I'm over it now.
So speaking of points, obviously, very important. We can take a look at how many points people can win throughout the season. I'm sure you've got your eye on some of these points, Tekkz. So let's take a look now at what's available throughout the competitions this year. As we know, 2,000 points to the FUT Champions Cups. Today was one of them. Plenty more to come. The FIFA Majors are also 2,000 points apiece. At licensed qualifying events, 850 points. Official league partners, 850, 450 or 200 depending on the event. 200 points for PlayStation 4 country tournaments. And of course, Weekend League gets you 30 points if you get 27 wins or more. 4,000 points for the playoffs. So what are you going to do differently this year to last year, Tekkz? Because, I mean, last year, 99% of it, or 95% of it was close to perfect. And then the big one, which I'm sure is the one you'd really love to get this year or any year, the E-World Cup final. Have you got a plan to change that, or is it mostly what you mentioned earlier about not getting burnt out?
Yeah, just regaining the schedule in my life, because I lost it last year. Yes, last year to the outside public, that was the best year of my life. And I can say it was one of my worst years of my life, mentally, because I've never been in a worse place. So this year, I'm just hoping to enjoy myself, and if I don't, I have to maybe take a break, which I didn't do last year. I played so many tournaments, so I just take day by day, as I say.
We saw players like Joxan take a break, didn't we?
Yeah.
They obviously work differently for different people, but we've kind of seen you grow up. Everyone that's followed competitive FIFA for the last few years, you came on the scene as a 16-year-old, and obviously they're pretty informative years for any youngster. If you could say anything to 16-year-old Tekkz, who obviously came onto the scene with that Barcelona win a couple of years ago, what would you say? What would you prepare him for the next few years with?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm awful at these questions, giving tips. Any interview I have, I hate giving tips. I'm not very good at it. But just when you're enjoying yourself, enjoy yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes it doesn't last forever.
Yeah, stay away from #Harry.
Going out tonight after Liverpool.
You've played 10 games as well this weekend. That's how many games you have to go through to become the champion here. Was one of them your favourite, taking away the last one? Anyone you really like playing against or anyone you dislike playing against?
I don't really like playing against anyone. I love the game against Sakul because it was 0-0 for the whole time, and then I finally scored like the 60th minute. And I've got real issues playing Sakul. Even though I beat him every time, he makes me struggle, he makes me work for it. So I enjoy beating Sakul. And the first game, of course, because winning the first game settles the nerves. I started so slow, and lyrics, I say that, and lyrics, but they're my favourites.
I'm going to say as well, of course, like you've set the marker again. Like, what do you make of the UK FIFA scene right now? We've had lyrics up against you in our last 4. It's kind of like for me, I see the Xbox for the UK, and it's a booming scene at the moment. We've got you obviously that's leading the way. We've had lyrics coming back this year. Obviously, we know like the likes of Harry's moved over to PlayStation, Tass over to PlayStation, but there's a huge kind of potential, isn't there, for the UK FIFA scene? We always talk about the Germans being the best and always being at all the events, but for me, I just feel like the UK FIFA scene's just got so much potential in that.
Yeah, in my opinion, Lyrics is one of the best players in the world. So is Diogo, but I don't know if he's going as Portuguese or UK, but we'll put him UK for now. So
we'll try and hold on to him.
Diogo, Lyrics, their quality. Diogo, I think he'll win the second event personally. I feel like this event was a tester for him, and then the next event he'll go and win it. On the PS, Harry, he's qualified for 2 out of 2. I'm hoping he can do better. Tom's really good, but he hasn't had his chance yet. So yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned the next event and you're tipping Diogo for it. Let's talk about the next event because it is 2 weeks from now, back in Bucharest again. You're going to be here again, and you kind of do dominate Bucharest whenever you come here. So
except from the time I lost 7-1 to Razak.
Yeah, I mean, you're allowed one. You're allowed one. You mentioned Diogo then, but you're playing your chances down again. There's no reason why you shouldn't win another one, is there?
I don't want to put pressure on myself. I hate doing that. So I never say myself, and just see what happens really. Hopefully I can play well again. If I play like I did this tournament, I think I'll go far. But I just got to be clutch towards the end of the games and see out the game, and maybe I can win again. Who knows?
Let's talk about the format of Stage 2. Obviously, what we're going to see unfold here in Bucharest in a few weeks. Brandon, are you expecting any changes?
I think the thing that I'm looking forward to the most, Spencer, is the fact that we're going to see movements in the rankings. Obviously, it's going to be the exact same tournament we've seen here. 3 days. We'll have a Swiss format on day number 1, as always. 5 rounds off that. As of course, the man next to me won 5 out of 5 in those games. Yes, it's the exact same format, isn't it, as we'll see at every FUT Champions Cup this year. Get 3 wins. 3 wins take you through. 3 losses, unfortunately, will send you home. And then we come back for day number 2. Obviously, we'll see that very soon.
3-0 Liverpool, come on.
There we go. We've got live coverage next to us. And we come into day 2. Of course, round of 16 and quarterfinals. Then it's day 3, semi-final, console final, and of course that amazing cross-country final that we just saw in Tekkz winning. But the thing that I'm most looking forward to, Spencer, is the fact we're going to see movement within the rankings. The first movement within the rankings of the year. So that's the big kind of movement I'm looking forward to watching.
Yeah. Do you think he can do it again next time?
Well, I'm excited to see if he can do it again, because he just played himself down there. Diogo is apparently the one to put your money on if you're a betting person. But it would just be exciting to see the people who didn't qualify as well getting their chance again, and the people that you guys did allow to qualify because you already had that place, and so you got the master spot, which allowed 4 more people to come through. It's great for those guys to have another chance as well. So can't wait for number 2.
One question at home: what's your game tag? Collect celery or something?
Collect celery 6.
How did that come about?
He likes collecting celery.
I didn't want to be Tekkz anymore because people didn't quit against me in weekend league, and it did my nothing. So I thought, let me change it, and I went on suggested and just picked the funniest one. So collect celery 6 all the way to Bucharest.
Fan of celery?
I actually don't remember ever tasting it.
With hummus, it's quite nice.
Hummus, what's that?
Dip, you know?
You say you want to eat better this year, so there's your challenge. Get some celery and hummus down here. I believe I'm right in saying celery is one of the only foods you can eat that actually burns calories.
Negative calories, yeah.
Yeah, whilst you eat it. So you try, not that you need to burn any calories.
Right.
We should try that out. Also, you just cost me about £8, Brandon, because you have to change the gamer tag again now.
Yeah, that's true.
You just told everyone what it is.
No, I still said it, so my fault.
A big rebrand midway through the year becomes Fnatic Celery. I don't think it's going to catch on that one.
Get sponsored by Celery as well now. If you go and try it when you get home, you might even get a new sponsor.
Fantastic stuff. Fantastic tournament, isn't it? What a way to start the year, by the way. So many goals, so many twists and turns. You've got the likes of Mo Alba, of course, who's the world champ, still the reigning world champ until next year. He will be. But he's not started the year the way he would have liked to start it, obviously crashing out in the group stage. Bit of a shock, although not everyone's favourite. Obviously, Dasari going out was a bit bigger shock. Nicholas heading out as well. You say Tekkz winning wasn't a huge shock. He would have been one of the names that most people would have put up there. But we did see some great performances from other names. Who do you remember that jumped out at you?
Well, obviously Wolves Fifilza going all the way there. Dylan Mike, I think, he kind of came back from a lot of games. I think one was 4-0 down, one on penalties a couple of times, and to Enrazic as well, who Enrazic has been great on the scene all the time. So yes, some great performances, but then some not so great. Were you shocked that people like Nicholas, Emma Dasari, Megabit, all these big names did go out so early?
I've not watched the side play this year, so I can't say much on him.
But just his
haven't watched
older
Nicholas,
performances, I guess.
But Megabit, I played him, he's really good, so I was shocked. But Rafsie's a good player himself, so I was surprised when I looked at the score, but it's what it is, it's the first tournament.
Will you go back and look at these players now?
Nah, I'm not invested in competitive FIFA at the moment. I'm not invested in just like anything to do with FIFA. I just go home and then come to the tournament, and then I'll maybe watch it. But like when I go back now, nah, just.
Okay.
I think as well as you said about this weekend, Spencer, it's been a great opportunity for, you know, you obviously we've got the top 5 players on each console. Obviously, Tekkz one of the ones on Xbox, but on PlayStation, you said Mo Alba, Nicholas. We didn't have any Stefano Pina here. Like for example, this was the weekend for the players to take points off, you could say, the big boys in the scene. So we've seen that. The South American players have been superb this weekend. And of course, we had a bit more history as well with another FUT Champions Cup winner 3 years in a row.
We have indeed. And Tekkz, we're going to free you now. You can go and celebrate with your
thank
boys.
you.
Enjoy the game. Well done again. I'll give him a clap off. Champion of Bucharest. Got to get the key to the city eventually. You know, the things he's doing for the Bucharest economy.
Or something.
Bucharest economy is booming. Every time he comes in, it just goes bang. Unbelievable.
I was going to say, if you were wondering what he was doing, he was just kind of trying to follow the Liverpool game down there. A huge Liverpool fan.
I think they heard that, didn't they, Brandon?
Yeah, 3-0, I believe. It's just a crazy weekend though, guys. I just feel like I think Onset and Dan said about on commentary, like in years to come, you know, we always talk about the likes of Bruce Granick, and we talk about like Alfonso Ramos. These are like legends. I call them like Hall of Famers in the FIFA esports world. You know, you put Gorilla in there, August Rosemar, Boris Legend in that Hall of Fame of people that, you know, have gone and competed at the highest level. We won't see dominance like that for the first major of the year for 3 years in a row in a hurry. Again, it's incredible. Just as you said, the adaptation of the new game coming out, adapting to what works, and just getting past everyone and being a champion again.
And the way he's going about doing it as well is quite different, I'm going to say, to what people have done in the past. Okay, maybe not all those years ago there was as much kind of hype that there is now about FIFA and everyone getting involved online on social media. But he kind of says he just goes home and tries to shut himself away from it all. Now got 5 Champions Cup titles to his name. He got 9 trophies overall. This guy, there's just no stopping him. If he keeps that mental attitude, which he has currently got, maybe it's come from his mum, who knows a massive supporter of him, and his team Fnatic now. I think he's, can be world champion.
I think, he's sat there and giving us that kind of response as well, because if you look into his mindset, he's a 17-year-old guy, obviously turned 18 a little bit earlier this year. For him, it was qualifiers, event, travel, play. He's had to naturally just try and get into a mindset of, I'll come and compete, I'll go back, have 2 or 3 days off, and then I'll get back onto it again. Of course, it's as you said, it's just to stop that kind of burnout, because when he got to the World Cup final last year, it was a performance that he wouldn't really want to happen again, because he really wanted to do well in that tournament. It's the big tournament at the end of the year. So it's all about just steadying himself through the year, and I think that is the approach he's trying to say for this year. Yeah,
he does play it down, but anyone watching at home, I can tell you for a fact, if you want to get to that sort of level, or anywhere near Tekkz level, the sort of level that's going to get you an event like this, you've got to put the hours in. You've got to really practice against good players. And there's a way you can do that, a new way. It's the PlayStation 4 Challenger Series. Brand new opportunity for you guys. Go to playstation.com/tournaments. And there's this whole thing you can get into. You don't have to be an unbelievable player right away. It might help you get better. But it's open to all abilities. And you work your way through different stages. And the higher you get, the more kind of prizes you can get, whether it's in-game currency such as FIFA points, actual cash, and other prizes as well. Going up against people in the same area as you, but if you get promoted, you can, if you get to stage 3, I believe, become the overall champion. There's a title up for grabs. So this is the sort of thing, Brandon, that we recommend to people that want to get better.
Definitely. I think it's a case of course, we have FUT champions out there, and you can have a bit of fun with that with your mates, and then, see how you get on every week. But if you're interested in competitive FIFA and you've got a little bit of an interest to kind of push yourself up against some of the best players all around the world, because I believe it is open to all around the world, win some prizes on the way, maybe a PlayStation mug, as I've been enjoying my coffees out of all weekend long, and just test yourself, see if you've got that interest, that a few hours extra a week, play it, and if you can get to stage 3, as you said, Spencer, you never know what could happen. You could get picked up for a tournament.
Yeah, definitely. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you guys this weekend. PlayStation.com/tournaments is the website you need if you want to get involved in the Challenger Series. Brandon, Rachel, thank you very much. Thank you to everyone else that's joined us. Thank you to you for watching over the last 3 days. The first event is done, and it's that man again, Tekkz, who takes home $50,000, 2,000 Global Series ranking points. He's at the top of the table. Will he still be there 2 weeks from now at the next event? This has been FUT Champions Cup Stage 1 here in Bucharest, Romania. I've been Spencer. We'll see you next time. Until then, don't go change it.